Okay. I think this is the second live that I'm going to be uploading on my channel, but this one is not going to be for Anthro. It's going to be for the Protist lab that I have for organismal biology this year. It's the first lab. I believe it is virtual, but I just want to go through some of the things because there was a 36 PowerPoint or 36 slide PowerPoint, and it was just way too much for me to like actually review. So I actually wrote all of them down, or all of the slides down, in 2 pages. So yeah, I'm gonna just review that. And there's also a whole bunch of like mitosis, meiosis stuff that I don't understand because I'm really bad at understanding that. So we could try to figure out. See, yeah, I never really figured out how mitosis and meiosis works. I don't know how I got through biology 1, but I made it and I forgot again. So yeah, we're gonna figure that out after I go through this, and I might make another live stream to save whatever I figured out. But for now, we're just gonna go through all of the phyla for the phylum for Protists. So going over like all the taxa and stuff from Organismal Bio. So we have the kingdoms. We have bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. And do keep in mind that bacteria and archaea are prokaryotes and eukaryotes, obviously. So right now we're not going to be focusing on the prokaryotes. We're going to be focusing on protists, which fall under eukarya. What also falls under eukarya is fungi, plants, and animals. But right now, our main focus is protists. This is the protist lab. So yeah, I'm going to have so much fun. There's 3 phyla for or phylums, I don't know, but there's 3 of them. There's protozoa, algae, and plasmodial slime molds. Yeah, that sounds kind of nasty. But let me get into the first one. The first protist phyla, the protozoa, it means first animal. So I guess these would be kind of like animal-like in a sense. Some protists are loosely grouped together as protozoa. It's not a formal taxon. Many use flagella, or cilia, or pseudopedia, I think. Oh, podia, pseudopodia, podia. I don't know how to pronounce it. I suck. But they use that as a means of traveling and locomotion. So since protozoa isn't an official like taxon, non-official taxon, we're gonna go into the actual phylums, the actual official phylums. So first we have Euglenozoa, and it's basically euglenid flagellate. So I guess the only thing I really need to know about this is just it has flagella. Second one is Gymnobiba. I think I'm pronouncing it right. So these are amoebas, and they use pseudopodias, like fake feet, to move. And then there's Ciliophora. They're ciliates. So I think the Gymnobiba and Ciliophora kind of like are namesake things, like it that you know what it is from the name, basically. Okay, so phylum Apicomplexa, these are spore forming. And I guess these are just a lot of like diseases and stuff. And phylum Foraminifera, I don't know. They're marine. They secrete a calcareous shell, aka a test. So a shell is a different word for like a test is a different word for shell. So they produce calcareous shells, aka tests, and the test forms a spiral pattern. Yeah, so they have spiral tests. Okay, and then the last one, the last phylum is Radiolaria. I'm dying. It's also a marine one, and they actually secrete siliceous, so I guess like glass-like tests. And these tests are extremely really fragile, and they're often seen only as fragments because they break so much. So again, we have you. Okay, actually, I'm not going to read all these. You can just read it when you look at the notes. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Little more to note about these types of protists. The protozoa protists. The movement of the organism can indicate the type of locomotion. So there's ciliates. Ciliates have flat, smooth motion because they have cilia. And flagellates, they have flagella, so they often are slower with an almost spiraling motion. And then pseudopodia users, they're slow and they have an oozing liquid movement. So just kind of think of it as like a slug, I guess. So I'm going to go over some examples of protozoa protists. So we have Paramecium, there's Ciliophora, and of course they have cilia. And we have amoeba, so they're part of gymnomoeba, and those use pseudopodia. And the Plasmodium, it's part of the phylum Apicomplexa. It's actually a parasite that lives in the blood of mammals and birds that have malaria. And then we have Okay, I was about to say Trypanosaurus. Trypanosomes, which is a part of the phylum Euglenozoa, and these are parasitic flagellates living in the blood of vertebrates. Disease that would involve these types of protists are African sleeping sickness. Okay, so that's the first kind of phyla group of the protists. So like the first phyla group is protozoa. We got like 6 of these, right? So moving on to the second group, we have algae. And something to note about these phylum names, phyta means plant or plant-like. So we first went with the group that are kind of like animal resembling. These are plant resembling. So this one has 4 phylums in the phylum group of algae. Excuse me. And the phylum Chlorophyta, I think. Chlorophyta. These are green algae. So this is the largest phylum of algae. I'm about to like talk about a whole bunch of examples. But they're diverse in life form, size, and complexity, ranging from unicellular and then to colonial to filamentous and thallus bearing. What is thallus bearing? It's simple vegetative body, no roots, stems. No true roots, stems, or leaves. So basically, it looks like a plant, but isn't one, basically. And these can stretch for several feet. The green algae can. Okay, so the first is Chlamydomona. Chlamydomona. It's not chlamydia, it's Chlamydomona. These are unicellular motile and have 2 anterior flagella. Under low light intensity, you can see a cup-shaped chloroplant. There's a pigmented eye spot, and there's also a clear nucleus. So that's the first example of algae. Second example, we have Gorium and Volvox, I think. These are both motile and colonial. Gorium colonies are flat, and they're held together by like a gelatinous kind of material. And these can be put on regular slides. Volvox colonies are large spheres, and there's usually like daughter colonies, not discrete, but like daughter colonies on the spheres, and it's best mounted as a hanging drop on a depression slide. Okay, next example, we have Hydrodictyon. These are non-motile and colonial. They're multinucleate cells, and they're separated by cross walls. Next one, we have Odogonium. These are non-motile filamentous. Filamentous means like thread-like. They have unbranched filaments. Okay, and then we have Ulva. which is, it kind of looks like a lettuce. It's also known as sea lettuce. And they are multicellular, relatively large, flattened tissue-like sheets. They're also isomorphic alternation of generations within this type of protist, algae protist. I would love to know what that means, but I don't know. So we're just gonna keep moving on and pretend I understood that. Okay, so the second phylum of the algae protists are Phaeophyta. I hope I'm pronouncing all of these things right, but it basically means a brown algae. And this group includes marine seaweed and kelp. Thing to note is kelp forests are really important in the ecosystem. These Phaeophyta, okay, these brown algae are large multicellular complex bodies that form a flattened blade stipe, which is a stalk, and then they hold fast. And basically these are thallus bearing. They look like plants, but they're not actually, because they're protists. Because if they were plants, they would be put in the plant phylum. They'd be put in the plant phylum. Right? Wait. Yeah. Kingdom. They would be put in the plant kingdom. Okay. Yeah. They are thallus bearing. That's pretty much all you really need to know. Examples are just, seaweed, kelp. The next phylum of algae protists is Rhodophyta. This is red algae. So you can find these in deep waters because they capture green, blue, and violet light waves very well. These are multicellular marine. And they are found in also tropical waters. Okay, and the fourth phylum is Bacillariophyta, and these are diaforms. I think it says diaforms or diet. I can't write normally. Today's a Saturday actually, so I just can't write. If you can read whatever this says, it looks like diaforms. So I'm just gonna say diaforms. So diaforms meaning they're fungus-like. Okay, we are on the last protist phyla group of my notes. And these are the slime molds. That sounds nasty, but we're still going to get into it because if we don't study this, we're not going to graduate. Phylum Myxogastrida. One day I'm going to look back and I'm going to realize I said all these wrong. It's going to be really embarrassing. And I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, Nini, why did you say like that? But it's okay. For now, I'm going to be confident in my incorrect pronunciation. But anyways, these are plasmodial slime molds. They ooze on forest floors. Okay, that's just nasty. They're non-walled multinucleate masses of protoplasm called plasmodium. So the protoplasm on these protists are called plasmodium. And this is just like a feeding stage. But in harsh conditions, the plasmodium can enter an alternate life form, and sporangia, which are like stalked fruiting bodies, they're formed. An example of this would be Fusarium. I don't know if that's... Okay, so earlier I mentioned Plasmodium, if you remember. And now I'm mentioning Plasmodium. So what's the difference? One Plasmodium is a genus. The other Plasmodium is a feeding stage. So, okay, so the earlier Plasmodium that I mentioned, it's part of the Apicomplexa phylum. So it's the Plasmodium genus, Apicomplexa phylum, Protista class. Oh dear, this is not okay. Wait. No. Protista kingdom should be. If it's not kingdom, I don't know what to say. I'm pretty sure it's kingdom. But anyways, it's just the genus, the genus, and it's associated with malaria. Remember that. but the Plasmodium I'm mentioning here is just the feeding stage of the Myxogastrata phylum slime molds. So yeah, one is italicized or underlined when you're writing it because it is a genus and it's associated with malaria. But this second one is an actual, just like regular word, Plasmodium. It's just a different way to refer to the masses of protoplasm on the Myxogastrata. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's basically all my notes. Okay, I'm gonna try to understand whatever this is. Wait, give me a second. If not, I can just try to understand this later. This is not due until Monday, so I do not have to worry about it. I'm gonna try to make this up as I go along while I read the life cycles. Okay. I'm gonna read this over real quick, see if I missed anything. Probably haven't missed anything because I rarely miss things. Okay. So there's life cycles that I have to know, I think. There's zygotic meiosis, gametic meiosis, and alternation of generations. Oh yeah, I did come across that somewhere. If I can find it. Okay, I found it right here with the algae protists. When I mentioned ova, so like the sea lettuce, the sea lettuce basically have the alternation of generations. So sporic meiosis. So there's zygotic meiosis, gametic meiosis, and sporic meiosis. So zygotic meiosis, it says chlamydomonas and Oedogonium. Go through those. Nothing is assigned to gametic meiosis, but ova is assigned to alternations of generations. So that should be something to note. And it also says note basic life cycle framework for Chlamydomonas, Oedogonium, and ova. So I guess that's important. Okay, so the basic format, I believe, is just meiosis, and then mitosis, and then fertilization, or it goes to gametes, and then it goes all the way back. So just like the regular cycle, I guess. But zygotic meiosis is different because the zygote directly undergoes meiosis, apparently. And I'm not sure what this means because I'm not good at biology and I'm kind of dumb. So I'm trying to find the difference between. Okay, so it says here on like the chart, it says something lives as haploid. So I'm assuming that. Okay, so I guess I'm assuming that like as soon as whatever it is becomes like the cell comes to zygote, it just directly undergoes meiosis without the other steps, is what I'm kind of getting here. And the gametic meiosis is, it says gametes formed directly by meiosis. And the difference here is it just says the cell lives as diploid. And then it says the alternation of generations, aka sporic meiosis. It says mitosis in two positions of the life cycle forms two distinct multicellular generations. Meiosis forms spores. So I guess sporic meiosis would just be more like for infections or whatever. Not infections, what am I saying? For diseases and stuff. And the zygote goes to mitosis, lives as diploid, and also lives as haploid. So I guess it's kind of like both. Oh my gosh, choose one struggle. It's okay, whatever. But I will find out how to understand this, but I really don't. But we're gonna move on to dichotomous key. It says how to use a dichotomous key. I need to know how to use that. says always start with number 1. Pick the one of two options that matches the organism and either ends with the ID or continues with directions to another pair. Oh, I guess I don't need to know this because it's a virtual lab. But anyways, I should be done with all of the notes I have for right now. I'm gonna go review all the mitosis meiosis stuff and try to educate myself and not be dumb. But yeah, I will return, I believe, with either a chemistry or a biology lecture stream either today or tomorrow. Hopefully today. But yeah.